What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Video Nasties. Back with Wayne from Retro Horror, as usual. If you guys are watching over on his channel, again, I'm Dan from Reject Films. And today we're covering The Funhouse from 1981, directed by Tobe Hooper. Interesting fact about this one is this one was kind of a misconceived video nasty. The house on Dead End Street also went by the title The Fun House, two separate wards, and they kind of thought it was this movie and wasn't. So the reason it being kind of tame for a video nasty is because it wasn't really supposed to be on the list. So with that being said, I will let Retro, as usual, go over the brief synopsis, pretty basic storyline, but go ahead and run us down the story.
Well, the Funhouse, 1981's the Funhouse, also the Carnival of Terror, I think it was called, although I don't recall any advertising for Carnival of Terror. Just by way of sidebar, I saw this in the theater when it came out. It's based on a book by Larry Block. It's about some high school kids. One of them is named Amy, and she and her boyfriend are going to go on a double date to the carnival. And they go to the carnival and they quickly see this murder take place where this Frankenstein masked kid, looks like a kid, young adult, kills this girl that stripper, at the carnival. That apparently they had adult carnivals back then and they had carnivals for the kids, and they just, so they actually had strip shows in this carnival. But anyway, he's not satisfied with this sexual encounter and he kills the stripper. Once the kids see that, and then the guy that's running the whole carnival sees that happen and knows that they know, then he sends his son Gunther out to bump off the kids. That's basically the story. It's a slow, as I said, I saw this when I was 16 years old in 81. And I had gone to see Halloween in the theaters. Back then, you had so many great slasher films, obviously. And then as a 16-year-old to go in the theater and see this, which takes a good 45 minutes before you get any kind of action of any kind. And I came out of the theater and I can still remember it. I just was unimpressed. And of course, Tobe Hooper, I love Texas Chainsaw, as does everybody. I love TCM too. So when I saw this, and I was just really, really disappointed. It's slick, it's polished, it's a Universal funded film, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't have the characters. The four kids that they're kind of carrying this movie just aren't compelling enough to carry the first 40 minutes of this thing. Once you get past the first half of it, then it gets interesting. And I think the ending is interesting, and I think obviously that mask is iconic because it ended up on Fangoria and was heavily advertised. But at the end of the day, I sit at a 6 out of 10, the same rating I would probably given it when I was 16 years old.
Yeah, I'm probably at maybe 5.5 if I had to rate it. Just because of that agony of that first 45. Like you said, there's no compelling characters. There's no charisma really from any of them. There's none you latch onto and want to root for. Like, man, I hope this person doesn't die. There's none of that. There's just like, you don't care if they die. Like, whatever.
And that's a theme at the end of the day, whether you're watching a 2020 horror movie, a sci-fi horror movie on the Sci-Fi Channel or Netflix, any of those type of things, the common denominator to me on whether it's a good horror film, a good slasher film, or a good sci-fi film is really the characters. I mean, you can't have a monster or a mutant eating up all the runtime without something to carry the film. And in this case, I don't think like the girl that plays Amy, Elizabeth,
the main final girl,
Elizabeth Barrage. I mean, did she do a bad job? No, but she's just not compelling. I mean, it's very vanilla. The characters are very vanilla in this one.
I mean, I don't think that was any fault of hers. I mean, I just think the script, the line she was given and everything. I mean, she did show some good scenes just without talking, when she's out looking at all the barkers, which were played all by the same guy, by the way, which
Right.
is pretty interesting fact. And she kind of zones in on each of the barkers, they were called back then, the guys announcing what was going on at said event. She did give a good like look in that scene, and she does have some kind of mesmerizing moments, but nothing dialogue wise that was gripping.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the last 30 minutes though is good enough to carry it to a 6. I mean, if you didn't have the quality of the action, so to speak, particularly the kind of the last 20 minutes, I think it'd be a 4 out of 10. But I can land on a 6 out of 10. It's probably one of the most bloodless slasher films you're ever going to watch. I'm not quite sure I would even agree calling it a slasher film, to be honest with you. I mean, there's not much of a body count. I mean, one of the kills was a hanging. I mean, I don't know. It feels more like just a straight up horror film. But
you have a couple electrocutions, and I mean, you get a tiny bit of blood, like when the monster's getting stabbed in the back. You see a little bit of blood around the knife and things, but
right.
Yeah, there's no blood drips really. Like you don't have that going on.
Yeah,
and I've seen this movie probably half dozen times, and this is my first time watching it on Blu-ray. And I will say the Scream Factory transfer looked amazing. I will say that. But when it comes to that part with the fan, I always think that somebody gets had by the fan, and they don't. I'm just like so disappointed every time.
Yeah,
like, oh, come on, you had a perfect opportunity.
I'm the same as you. I could have sworn when I was watching this that doesn't somebody get swallowed up by the fan and like mincemeat?
Yeah.
I did the same thing. I did the very same thing. It's obviously it's an iconic film, The Monster Mask, which was a mask, by the way.
Oh yeah, and you can really tell, especially when they're in that room with the chains and the gears and stuff. There's a shot that pans to the back side of him. You can see the line of the mask in that scene really well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it made the cover of Fangoria, and there was a lot of hoopla with that regard. But I mean, other than that, and it's a slick, polished film, and it looks good. It's just there's not a lot of meat on the bones, particularly.
It is a great score too. One of the features on here was with the composer, and it is a really nice score. Done by an orchestra and all that. He didn't want to use the synthesizers or anything.
Right. Yeah, the score was good.
Universal backing it. They had the money to pay for a good score, but like you said, it started out as a low budget $400,000 film, and then Universal's like, here's $3 million, and it's like, oh, okay.
Apparently they screwed Larry Block out of his money.
He
got small independent horror film funds for the rights to his book, and then but then Universal came back and was going to do a novel, and they had to pay him apparently. So he did end up getting
like $10,000 instead of $1,000 originally or something.
Yeah, that sucked.
And then they did add the opening scene afterwards, as you caught, I'm sure too, in the special features that they felt the same as us. Universal did, like, hey, nothing happens in this movie. So they went back and reshot that opening scene with her brother doing the little psycho montage.
Right.
That way you were drawn into it right away. And then you have 40 minutes of just people chatting and doing stupid shit that isn't very entertaining.
But the Universal, I guess, was trying to compete with Paramount because, at that point, Friday the 13th was out, and they were trying to do their Teens in Peril movie along the lines of Paramount. And when you compare this film to the first 4 or 5 Friday the 13th, it's the characters. I mean, a lot of the Friday the 13th, I mean, you've got iconic, at least 1 or 2 iconic characters that are entertaining for the first 30 minutes before you get the kills. But
it's that, and it's that Harry Manfredini score, man. That just really does it.
Yeah. And you just shake your head as to why this is a nasty, but as you pointed out, I think it was just a mistaken
mix up, right? Yeah, I didn't know if you had known that already. I just wanted to throw it out there and not give you a heads up.
Yeah, well, I've got those Severance sets, which I highly recommend, of all the video nasties, and they've got commentary about Stephen Thrower and other people, and then they show a trailer of the film. They talked about the fact that this has to be mistaken identity. There's hardly any blood in this
Right,
thing. My
right,
God.
yeah. I mean, there's other movies that came out in this time frame that were a lot worse that didn't make the list.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them I can see. Okay, there was one scene in here that was really over the top, or a really violent rape scene or something like that. I can see why it made the nasties list, but there's none of that in here. I mean, there's
Nothing.
barely any nudity. You have the opening scene nudity, which to me, that scene always really threw me off too. It's like I know as a kid you're not really thinking about it, but it's like it's your sister, man, And then I don't know, and then he just kind of stands there and looks at his own sister naked. But
Yeah.
I'm glad they threw that in there because without that, you only have like one other scene of very brief nudity when they're in the funhouse after it closes and they're on the ground. You see like a brief second of nudity, and that's it.
Well, I was kind of wondering. I listened to the Tobe Hooper commentary. I was kind of wondering with that scene whether he threw it in there just to try to get an R rating. I mean, without the sex stuff, without some of the TNA, I'm not sure this thing would get an R. I mean,
yeah, because I don't even think it really cusses that much either.
No.
Now that I really think about it,
No, it doesn't.
I do have one question too, though. Is like, why would they have had a real sword in the funhouse?
Yeah,
that just kind of like really.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, this was a unique funhouse. I mean, you had
Yeah.
adult strip joint entertainment combined with kids entertainment in the same damn venue. So,
Yeah, and it didn't look very portable. He's like, we're out of here in the morning, but you can see, it had an underground part, and you could see from the outside shot, like the building itself is on the ground. Like,
right.
I don't know how. I mean, they made it in the back lot at Universal, so it's obviously a set, and I don't know. It just seems like a really big thing to move. Like, I don't know, maybe take it apart in sections, but.
Well, this is one, when people talk about whether Tobe Hooper is like one of the top horror directors of all time, obviously based on one film, he's got to make that list because to many people, it's the greatest horror film of all time, including TCM2. But, films like The Funhouse did not
do him justice.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help it doesn't help the argument about whether Tobe Hooper is an icon of horror. It misses the mark big time. It missed the mark in '81 when I saw it, and it missed the mark. Late when I was 16, it missed the mark. Now I'm in my 50s, it still misses the mark for me. So,
yeah. I mean, I felt like it had a good storyline, and it just wasn't executed correctly. The pacing's just off and everything. But have you read the novelization?
No. Mm-mm.
See, I wonder if that's better than the movie because it came out after the film. So I wonder if they threw some stuff in there to really amp up things and give some more backstory to the characters and everything.
Yeah,
one guy did a great job though. The main Barker guy, his dad, he did a great job as his dad character. I thought he was probably the strongest actor in this.
Oh, the Barker he was great. He was great. They should have spent a lot more time. I think they should have gone much more into his backstory and his son's backstory. Maybe cut out 10 minutes of the kids and throw in 10 minutes of backstory, and that would have probably helped it.
That's why I was wondering if maybe they do that in the novelization, if you had read it. But
no,
I know they were talking about doing that when they were trying to decide what to add to the beginning. They were talking about, showing like some kills at a previous carnival or something like that. That's really what they were trying to go with, and then just decided on the scene that they inevitably went up.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the novel because back in the early '80s and in the '70s, movie companies would sometimes put out novelizations before the movie came out.
Yeah,
and I can think back like Alien, the original Alien, the novel came out first. And I fucking read that thing cover to cover 2 or 3 times before the movie came out. And it was fantastic. The novel was just like the movie. And I think it did a lot to promote the movie. Not that Alien needed any promotion, but I think if you'd have put the Funhouse novelization out first, you might have gotten a little more. Although the movie made money, I think it made like $7 million. So it's not like it was a bomb. It just
they said it was like #1 in theaters, and
no, it hit a bunch of theaters. I think it hit like 2,000 theaters. It was, but again, to me, it was just kind of a flat, forgettable, disappointing.
Would you say it's your least favorite Tobe Hooper film, or?
Oh no.
Well, for back in that time frame, anyways.
Oh, at the time,
I know he made some kind of garbage there towards the end, but
towards the end he made some real turkey.
He did like what? Didn't he do one of the mortuary ones or something? And
yeah, he did. He did the mortuary one. I mean, at the time that this came out, obviously this was his worst film. I mean, I loved Salem's Lot. The TV novels, the TV that he did of Salem's Lot scared the fuck out of me when I was a kid. I mean, when it first came out, I thought that was fantastic. Obviously TCM. So yeah, at this point in time, this was a real, that was a real miss. It was his worst film, I think.
I thought it was kind of interesting too. This is just a personal thing that the producer, one of the producers, that was it Mark Lester guy, was also a producer on Truck Stop Women and Still Arena, which I just got in from 88 Films. I was like, oh, what a small world. And of course he went on to do like some really big movies as well. But yeah.
Well, Steel Arena, you're gonna have a blast with Steel Arena. I love Steel Arena. That's hilarious. That's great.
I will say this Funhouse, it was a really loud movie. It was a real up and down movie. I kept having to turn the volume down and back up, and the score was so overwhelming that I don't remember it being that way. It might be the Scream Factory transfer, the audio transfer on it.
Right.
But yeah, it was just real loud at times. Like when they're going to the Funhouse and like the thunder and lightning hits, man, that's just like real loud. And
yeah. It was a little loud. Did you know? I didn't know this, but Arrow has put out it's out of print now, but Arrow put out a Blu-ray with a lot more special features on it.
Yeah, they had the old, I believe they did the old window box edition.
Yeah, they had a window box. I kind of like to get that. I'm not a.
And of course, you did have your reverse art on there, which I love that art. And then my DVD that I still have has that art on it, the disc art. That's what's on my DVD.
You like that better?
I do. I like that one better. I know they rolled with this on advertising for a while too. Just the mouth, which is on my DVD. Which is another reason I just keep my DVDs anymore. Like, you're not going to get anything for them.
Right.
And I could give them away, but then I'd probably regret it for some reason. Like, hey, on the Blu-ray, this is missing, so keep your DVD after you get rid of it or something. So I just keep them anymore just in case. But
same here. I got a bunch of DVDs, and
I mean, I like the new commissioned art too. So all three artworks are pretty good. I like the one guy too, the magician.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. He was good.
Yeah. And he died shortly after this release as well.
I definitely got to get the try to scrounge up that Arrow window box. I mean, even though I'm not a huge fan of the movie, I like to see some of the special features. I think there's an extra commentary on there too.
I didn't even listen to this commentary.
It's a good one. Tobe Hooper. Yeah. I think it's one of his better ones. He goes into great detail about how this thing went from $400,000 to $3 million as far as budget.
Did you have a slip on yours?
I bought this when it first came out. I don't know. I don't remember. This was probably 6 or 7 years ago this came out.
Funny story. I actually gave this slip to a buddy of mine because it's pretty beat up. Like, it's pretty raggedy. And then, I was like, well, I'll just buy it later on with the slip. And then the movie got sent to me. And then I was like, shit, now I need a slip. So I actually traded him back for the slip.
Oh, really?
I was like, because I could not find one for the life of me. At that time, they were pretty relevant, but now it's getting really, really hard to find. I don't want to pay like $20 more for a slipcover, man. I just can't.
I think this may have come damaged. The slip may have been damaged on this, and that's why I don't remember. I would have kept the slip. It must have been.
Well, I'm surprised it even played, man, without the slipcover. I mean, shit.
No,
you probably had to trick it and put a different one on it.
No, it's the PQ and the audio is fine. It's excellent. Other than
it is a great release. I'll give them that. I think Scream Factory did a better job back in that day.
I agree.
When they were a smaller company and they really took care and pride in their work. And I mean, it's going to happen with any company. Vinegar Syndrome's now growing from what they used to be. They're just as big, if not bigger, than Scream Factory anymore.
Well, I mean, now their collector's editions might just have a damn trailer and they call it a collector's edition. So yeah, they did a lot better job, 5-6 years ago, I think.
Well, I've noticed, and I saw it on the Event Horizon release even, they're cutting it so close to the deadline on these releases and everything that a lot of times what's listed on the cover, there's more features on there than what's listed because they printed all the slips and the inserts and stuff. And then they're like, oh, wait, hold on, we can add some more stuff. So you throw the disc in and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. What is this? So now they're sticking to just putting and more.
Yeah, I noticed that you can't always tell what special features are on there. But yeah, this was definitely a homage in a way to the old Universal horror films. I mean, you had the guy wearing the Frankenstein mask, and in the opening scene, you had all these different Universal monsters. So clearly, Universal put their money into this one.
The only thing that got really annoying was the alive, alive, alive. Like, okay, I heard you the first 500 times, man. Like, come on.
Yeah, we get it. We get it. You're alive.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys haven't seen this movie for whatever, I mean, it's worth checking out for sure. You could actually skip to 40 minutes in and you'll know what's going on. You're not going to miss anything. I mean, it's that simple. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think that's about it for this one. If you got anything else? I mean,
no, I think that's it. Other than we got to pick another film.
Oh, shit. Where are we at? 1? Back to 1?
I think we're back to 1. Yeah.
I think this is the most exciting time for people watching, if they're still watching.
What's next? I'm on pins and needles.
All right. I'll just do like I normally do. I'll give a couple options and you pick one. House on Straw Hill. Cannibal Ferox. Or Beast in Heat.
Ooh. Tough choice. I'm gonna say Cannibal Ferox.
Cannibal Ferox.
Have you ever seen it?
I've not. I've seen Cannibal Holocaust many years ago, but I've not seen Ferox, and I just got that in. So
yeah, let's do that. Let's do that one. Particularly, I was gonna say Beast in Heat, but shit, we've already done a Nazi exploitation. Probably out of way.
You were wanting to do that right after we did that first one we did.
Yeah, no, it's that's probably a bit much.
Well, some of these I still got to pick up, and I think you probably do too. But I can't find some of them. Some of these are getting hard to come by.
Yeah, they're not. I'm not sure all of them have releases, but Cannibal Ferox will be a good one to cover, I think.
And you got the Grindhouse releasing.
Oh yeah.
Box version.
Yep, I do.
I think that's the only one there is, isn't there, on Blu-ray?
That's only on Blue. I think that's it. Yeah. That's all you need.
Some DVDs floating around out there of some low-budget companies or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for joining. Again, Cannibal Ferox next time, if you guys want to watch it beforehand and be prepared, I guess. And we appreciate you checking out the series and everything. So
thanks for watching.
Yep. Peace, love, happiness, all y'all. Catch you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.